Oops. All right then. So as you guys know, there was a big update today. The new season started. Senhime was dropped, and also we got a bunch of different item changes, and also four new items, and also like a few smaller items, like the ones that fuse into a big item. Right. So let's just go over some changes. So like these are the pretty minute changes here with Asakusa. What happened was got rid of the two items, the group magic risk and the group defense, like physical defense, and they just fused it into Asakusa over here. So the rest of this everything remained the same, but just the fact that all the basic SP items like Asakusa, Trinket, and also the Astrolabe, all three got of this new passive, which is pretty nice in my opinion, because now you don't have to buy those separate items, and SPs now have more freedom to do what they want, build what they want. Like they don't have to build those set items which usually take up the entire game. So they really have like very restrained in like what they can actually build and do, right? So yeah, I feel like this was a pretty good update. Like although the defense is less compared to before, but I think this would be better for like more creativity, I guess, and more variety in the game, let's say, and the builds. So I think it was a pretty decent update, change. So yeah, these are the two items which got heated and deleted. Like I feel like yeah, it's like 20 instead of what? Now you get like 2.5 into level as opposed to 20 into 2. Yeah, so the difference is much less comparative compared to like what the items give, but I feel like overall it's pretty decent. Yeah, about time. Like yeah, it this should, I feel like it's about time they got rid of those items. Like if you keep restraining the SP builds to like these few items, then I feel like there will be a lack of creativity. So yeah, I feel like about time they got rid of it. Right. So what they did with this item was that they just gave, and like every time you perform three attacks or abilities, you get this shield instead of when you drop to 35% HP and you're pretty much dead, then you get the shield. Like the cooldown is 15 seconds, so it'll proc like when you enter the battle, it'll stay for about 4 seconds, and then pretty much you won't proc it again in the battle unless you like chip and then go away and the battle is prolonged. So you most likely will only get activate this once in a battle, I think. But I think overall it's better because you have more HP that way. Rather than this, when you get like when you're below 35% HP and you get the shield, you're most likely just going to die anyway, I feel is the case. Like, yeah, I mean, you're most likely not going to be able to run away. Like, Moviji might run away because she already has a passive, so maybe she escapes. But I feel like for most mages, the case is that they just die anyway. And also this new item, I feel like this is amazing. So you get now 30 magic penetration on this item as well. which is great because now you don't have to build trigram for magic penetration. You get it from this item as well. So yeah, overall this was a pretty nice one because magic penetration is always appreciated so that Aobozu and Kanihime just don't roll over your entire team and you can burst them faster now. So that's great. Yeah, so this change here, like all the base stats remain the same. What they did was here instead of reducing it by 12%, they just changed it to 10% overall. Like here it was 6% after you inflict a control and then another 6%. Wait, it was 6% on normally and then after you inflict a control effect it became 12%. So here what they did was they just give you 10% um, damage reduction regardless. Like it doesn't matter if you inflict a control effect or not. It just gives you that. Gives you that. I feel like this was a pretty meh change. Like I feel like it didn't really matter either way. I don't think it's going to change this effect. Nobody who was not building it before might build it now. I don't think so. I feel like it doesn't really affect much. What do you guys think? So, Buddha beads. This is like earlier it used to give you this ability damage bonus and movement speed after you casted your ultimate. So you could use it on stuff like Kingyo and maybe Menreiki, but you really didn't use her on that. Use it on her. Like maybe if you're going like full balls to the wall Menreiki with Mandala and fucking Izanami or some shit, like maybe then you build it on her. But yeah, I mean it's mostly like a Kingyo item. I feel like it didn't have much use. Like maybe Susabi built it. I don't know. But now it got magic penetration again because of this small item, which is great. And it increases your own damage for 3 seconds after inflicting a small, strong control effect on enemy, which in my opinion is kind of sus because I'm not really sure who it's going to be really useful on. Like, what would you build it on? Would you build it on Yuki Onna? I sort of doubt it. Like, because Yuki Onna will do shit damage regardless. She might do some damage, some more damage, but it's going to be shit damage regardless. Who else is there? Like, will you build it on Higan? I don't think so. Kingyo, I doubt it, but maybe. What else? Susabi, not really sure. Maybe if you want to combo faster and get this magic penetration, you might build it on him. What's a good control mage? There is Yuki, there is Tamamo. Tamamo has good control. But again, on Tamamo, I don't think you'd build this because her job is not really burst. Like for 5 seconds, if you get that bonus, she still won't be killing anybody, I think. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be much use on Tamamo either. Hmm. I have to pull up like the fucking Shiki chart and stuff. Like, can I find it online by chance? Let's see if there's a Shiki list online. Okay, great. Do they have it sorted by role? Holy. Um, is this the Onmyoji RPG or is this Onmyoji Arena? It seems like RPG. Onmyoji Arena, okay, cool. Yeah, so position mage. Okay, okay, so just sorted like this. Okay, let's go to mage then. So now who would you build this on? Perhaps. Like you can't build it on Auri because Auri doesn't have a strong control effect. Same with Aondan. She has it on the stun. Yeah, that was the RPG one, right? Aondan has a stun or an ult, but it rarely ever lands. So I don't think you could use it on her either. Daishime, perhaps he has one stun, but it's still pretty sus. Like I don't think you wanna build that on Daishime. Anandra is a maybe. Like maybe if you catch Anandra with the catch the opponent with the polygraph or whatever it's called, polymorph, and after that you could place your ult and stuff, and you could just combo hard. Maybe that's an option, but Anandra isn't really ideal either. I feel for this item. Hangan is a Hangan. I think you might be able to use it on because Hangan is sort of burst in a sense, like he's harass slash burst. So you could use it on him because you land your S1, S2, and then you ult. So it's like it'll be over in less than 5 seconds. And I feel like you could one shot faster if you use this item, perhaps. So that is an option. Higan Bana, like I said, I don't feel like that's a good item for Higan Bana. Isaiah, perhaps, because Isaiah has a lot of control. So you might be able to use it on her. And she's also sort of burst. Like depends on which build you go with her. Like you can go with the Mandala build and try to go for burst, or you can go for Shishimin build and sort of harass. Like you can teleport, use your teleports and get in, and maybe use it that way, or you could just use it to burst. Like depends. If you're using for burst, then I think this might be nice. If you're using for harass, then I don't think it's that necessary to be honest. Yeah, King Yu is usable, but I mean, I don't think it's a great item for King Yu. Kise is a bit interesting. Kise you might be able to use it on because Kise stun lasts for a bit. Like if you land it, that's like a 1.5 or 2 second stun, right? I'm not really sure, but the stun lasts for a bit, so it might help in your combo to get kills maybe. It's interesting. Kyo you definitely can't use it on. Same with Arakawa, Maestro, Menreki. Menreki does have a charm, but again, like that 10% damage boost isn't really doing much. Momeji, perhaps, if you really want to. Oitsuki you can use it on, but no, I think Oitsuki you can't use it on because Oitsuki's CC, which is a what was it? Silence. The silence comes at the end of a combo, not at the beginning. So by the time you actually get the silence, you're already like done with all your damage. So there's no point in doing that. Otengu is a maybe. You might be able to use it on Otengu because Otengu can constantly spam his fucking knock up, and you don't even need to aim. So yeah, you might be able to do that to combo faster with Otengu. Combo better, I guess, like more damage. And you also get the magic penetration, let's not forget that. So yeah, maybe Otengu. Shirodoji is a bit sus. Don't think that's a great item for Shirodoji. Shiromujo, yeah, again, I don't think so. Because Shiromujo will only CC if they walk out the circle. Which they might, but again, like, that's like a small percentage. I don't think you want to rely on that. Like, after they walk out, and then you deal a little bit more damage. Yeah, I don't think so. Susabi, like I said, maybe you might want to use it on Susabi. It's a bit sus. So, like Tamamo, I don't think you want to use it on Tamamo. Like Tamamo does do CC, but that extra damage is not necessary on her. Like as opposed to some other item, I feel like this helps a little bit less. Like the shield from before, like what was it called? The Sylph something, right? Yeah, you could use this item on Tamamo, I think, because you get the magic penetration and you get the shield, so you can play more aggro with him. But I don't think you want to get the other item, like the beads you don't want to get on anything. Yuki Onna, ideally you don't want to use Yuki Onna because she's sort of really just bad, I feel. Like she does have CC, but it like if you got a carry in your team, then maybe you use her. Like if maybe your ADC, if you're going for like the four protect ADC strat, like you then maybe you can go for Yuki Onna. Like Yuki Onna with suppose Kanihime or some sort of tank jungle like maybe Ibaraki. If you sort of go with that sort of team structure, like with the Chin MM, then maybe Yuki Onna is good. But apart from that, I feel like if you're just playing solo queue and people just pick whatever they want to play, I don't think Yuki Onna is a great option to be honest. Just to play in general, I guess. But this item again, like you what items you want on Yuki Onna is like you want Summer Ash, you want Marsh Moon, you want the Shichiman, and then maybe if you're going for more tanky, then you want the Sylph thing. Um, and then yeah, matlab, maybe you can build it on her, but it's not ideal, let's say. Itan Moment, it's interesting for Itan Moment because Itan Moment recently, the meta has been from CN, what I've noticed, it's more of tank Itan Moment. So for tank Itan Moment, this item won't really come in handy, to be honest. But if you're going for burst Itan Moment, then perhaps yeah, you might be able to one shot faster. Shiranoi can't use it. And that's all the mages. The new mage Senhime is also there. So do you want to use this on Senhime? I really don't think so. Because Senhime's CC is pretty less and it's hard to land, let's say. So I don't think you want to use it on her. Just go for some different items. Like Amen or whatever it's called. Those kind of items are what you want on her. Like, so where were we? Yeah, it's so these are these two. I forgot to get the old version screenshot of the old version of these two items. So let's just talk about what the new version of them are. I sort of remember the changes though. Like for the demon mask, what earlier used to happen was the scaling of attack was pretty less, whereas the max HP was more, and this was also more. Like, or maybe there was no maybe there was no attack scaling. I don't remember completely, but there was like 270 and some more HP bonus, I think, was the way it went, and less attack bonus. The base stat remains the same. It's like 600 HP with 40 attack, so it doesn't change there. The Buddha beads, um, sorry, why did I come back to this? Yeah. So the Shadow Blade, what happened was they added this new thing where when attacks or abilities hit enemy, Shikigami movement speed is increased by 8 for 4 seconds, and this effect stacks for a few times. So you get a pretty good movement speed buff out of this. I think this is a great change for both of these because now Samurai have more leeway. Like, I feel like Inuyasha might come into the game come back into the game with some of these item changes. Like, not these in particular, but I feel like overall what they've done with this update. Like here, the Demon Mask I feel like is great in general. Like, Yoto top could benefit greatly from this. Then what else is there? Like if you're going for a carry Aobozu Demon Bin form, then again this item would be great because it buffed attack. So you could like what the carry Aobozu Demon Bin form build is like is the ability sights. Like it starts with Mikazuchi and then it's the ability sights, and then it was a Demon Mask and then it was Lantern, something like that. So I feel like this would be great. Like also this Shadow Blade was also there. So overall, I feel like Demon Bane might be stronger if you're going for the carry build. And in general, it's I think is amazing because you can also use this on what's his name, Kuromujo because Kuromujo builds a hammer, so you're going to get more scaling from that. Hanya is going to benefit greatly from this. Asura is going to benefit greatly from this because Asura builds the fucking Onimaru for his life steal. So it'll be great for that. Ibaraki doesn't really build much of attack damage, and I really wouldn't recommend it either, like the Aobozu carry builders. Because Ibaraki, if you're tanky, you're going to get the job done. You don't really need to go all in with damage. Ichigo doesn't really build this item. Inuyasha is a bit sus. I'll have to come back to Inuyasha. I feel like there are other items also that Inuyasha benefits from. So I'll come back to Inuyasha specific later, I think. Kamaitachi is not at top, and you don't build this on GHE either. Kojira will benefit from this because sometimes when going against magic damage, like for example Hogue or something, you can pick Kojira, and his first item is the Devour Ball or some Devour Ball or whatever it's called, like the magic resist sword. Yeah, so the first item you build on him is that, and then you also perhaps build a Shadow Blade on him, depending on what sort of item you're going for, like what sort of build you're going for. And you also build what do you call it, demon mask later on. So I feel like this will be great for Kujira as well because you can build more of the carry build now rather than sort of a samurai build, the old samurai build. I mean like Mikazuchi, Soul Grabber, Demon Mask, etc. etc. Kuromujo, yeah, like I said, Puppeteer you don't want to play at top. Jungle, I'm not really sure if a Puppeteer jungle builds Demon Mask or not. Ryumen, I feel like is still going to be shit, so let's skip that. Satori might be more useful now, and Satori will build Demon Mask because Satori's items are pretty much damage, I feel. Yeah, I mean, so I feel like it'll be great for Satori. Shishio, I haven't seen a while. Shishio doesn't build too much damage, I think. Maybe Shishio builds Summer Ash and Mikazuchi. But apart from that, is it Mikazuki or is it Mikazuchi, by the way? Let me just check. Yeah, it's what? It's Mikazuki, sorry, my bad, not Mikazuchi. Mikazuki. Yeah, so maybe it is good for Shishio, but like Shishio doesn't really see much usage, but maybe now, like maybe you can go more of a YOLO Shishio build and then just try to get behind the enemy and just pull them all over to you and pull over to your team and just go for all in on damage. Like try to one shot them. Maybe it comes back into the picture. Shutendoji, Shutendoji builds this item either way, and I think it's going to be. It depends really because Shutendoji has so many builds I really can't keep track. Like every other Shutendoji that I see has like a fucking different build. So I'm not really sure. If you go with an attack damage build, then yes, that's great for you. But if you go for the tankier build for Shutendoji, then this is worse for you. Takiyasha Hime is sort of the same thing. Like if you're going for a damage build, I think this is a great change. But I feel like Takiyasha is most effective when you build a tanky build with the fucking halberd and purple health and you just chain the fight for as long as possible and you tank a lot. I feel like that's the most effective for her. So Demon Mice Mask change might be a nerf for her in a sense because her shield will be sort of smaller. But I feel like overall this might not change much. Like if you're going for Takayasha Jungle, then this is a great thing for you because Takayasha Jungle has a attack damage build with the two sides and stuff, Demon Mask. So now you'll be able to tank more. So you can just go in with your red ult and do some damage and maybe then zither up. And I feel like you'd be really effective with that. So I think this is a like an alright change for Takayasha. Yukidoji, this is bad for because Yukidoji shouldn't build any attack damage in my opinion. Just go for tank items. Inugami, yes, this is good for Inugami, but you don't really see much of Inugami. Jorogumo is just she's just dead. I haven't seen her in ages. I saw her this morning and I got smoked by her. But apart from that, like Jirogama has seen much, very less usage, but maybe after this update, she might have an item or two that might make her like tier 2 rather than tier 2 or tier 3 rather than tier 4, perhaps. Rukia is an ability power Shiki, so she can't benefit from Demon Mask in the first place. Yoto Hime, like I said, this is great for her. And yeah, I think that's all the summarize, right? I guess we can cover ninjas too for this one. Ninjas, do you want to build it on any ninja though? Yeah, I don't think you want to build Demon Mask on any ninja. As far as tank is concerned, all of the tanks, this is a no for all of the tanks because all of them go for HP rather than attack damage. So Demon Mask change is a no for them. But let's go for this. Like this is an interesting change, very interesting change in my opinion because they sort of nerfed Mikazuki. Like the base stat, the HP reduced by 100, the attack damage reduced by 5, and the cooldown. I think this is pretty huge. Like the CDR reduced by 10%. Like earlier, you can just run Mikazuki and then you can run Soul Grabber and then you have 40% cooldown reduction like max. But now they reduced it, so overall they nerfed Mikazuki quite a bit. The armor penetration though increased now. Like what the change was, like major change was like whenever physical damage is dealt to an enemy Shikigami, armor pierce is increased by 3% for 5 seconds, and this can be strat for 8 times. So armor pierce can increase by 24% theoretically, in addition to this 15%. So that's a 39% total armor penetration, which is a lot. It's a lot of armor penetration. But the thing is, do you want to build it? Like that's the question now. Like if you're going against a tank, definitely you want to build this. Like if you're going against Kanihime, for example, Kanihime has a lot of HP and armor. Oops, wrong tab. So you definitely want to build it against Kanihime. And what is like let's see here. If you're going against something like Umibozu top or let's say Karasu Tengu top, then you definitely want to build Mikazuki because you're going to need that armor penetration. But let's say you're going against some samurai, like let's say suppose you're going against Hanya, then you might not want to build Mikazuki now because you really don't need armor penetration for even Asura, for example. You definitely need for Ibaraki because Ibaraki, what we call it, buffs his own defense and he's just tanky in general. So you gonna need Mikazuki for him. But if you are going for against like some things like Ichigo or Asura, Kojira, Kuromujo, then you might not want to build Mikazuki anymore, like as your first item, because these guys don't have that much armor, let's say, and you don't need that much armor penetration for them, and you also have less CDR and attack and HP now. So that might be something you want to consider. I won't say it's a definitive, like don't use it, but something to consider now, which I think is interesting because now you have more variety to what you can build with samurai. Because previously Mikazuki is just like a staple which you build on every samurai regardless. Like that's the first item, like you build it on everything. But now you might want to consider it, like what your first item is actually gonna be. Like if you're going for a fucking YOLO build, then you might not want to build it. And if you're going for a tankier build, then you might just want to start with drum and carry along that way with soul grabber and other tank items. You might not consider this anymore. For certain, what do we call it? Against certain Shiki, let's say. So this, I think, was a pretty good change. Like earlier, this yin yang wheel was barely used on anything. I don't think you could use it on anything. Like the only Shiki I've used it on is Yukidoji, and I still think that's a bad option on him. So previously what it did was ki every 2 seconds the next melee attack did 2.5 bonus max HP damage. Right, so 2% of your own max HP I think, or was it enemy max HP? I think it's your own max HP that you did to the opponent. As opposed to now where what it does is that your next basic attack deals every 3 seconds, so there's a 3-second cooldown, but it does like 5% base, and then every 50 bonus attack increases 1%. So if you build like a Onimaru or something that gives 100 attack, so you're gonna have 5% plus this, which gives you 60. So there's going to be 6% plus Onimaru is going to give you 2%. So you're going to automatically deal around 8% target max HP damage every 3 seconds, which I think is great. And now I think this item might be viable on some Shikigami. Like earlier, I was saying Inuyasha might come back into the picture. This is one of the items I feel like you might want to build on Inuyasha now, because the target max HP damage is amazing. Every 3 seconds is going to be 16% max HP damage to the opponent, in addition to the other damage. Like if you build this, plus if you build what is called Omoikane, if you build that, then you're doing approximately 24% max HP damage in like 3 seconds, right? Like more than that, maybe. So I think this is a great addition. Like that's going to be a lot of burst for the opponent, especially tanks. I feel like this update in general has given Shikigami a lot more burst against tank units. Like mages got a lot of other items which had magic penetration now. Trigram got 5% extra, like 8 trigrams, the mage item. That got additional 5% magic penetration too. So I feel like they did a lot of balancing in a sense against tanks, because tanks are pretty dominant now in this meta. Like Kanihime, Aobozu, Buddha form, Yume Koi. These are all pretty dominant Shikigami, even Tanuki. So I feel like they wanted to balance it out a little, so they gave a lot of burst in now. So this item I feel like is a great change to balance it out a little bit. Like you can't just go tank without a care in the world now. You might get punished for it, because mages have more magic penetration now, and also this item exists, which a samurai can build, and that could be really nasty for a tank, because it's going to provide a lot of burst. Let's take a look at the Shikigami list again, and things you can build it on. Like samurai, Aobozu you still don't want to build it on, I think. Asura, yeah, no, I don't think, because Asura doesn't really have much, doesn't really do too much basic damage. Sorry, basic attacks. He does do it, but it's more of chip. He's more of an ability damage sort of character. Hanya is interesting, let's say, because Hanya, although is primarily ability damage, he does do a lot of basic attacks, and his but in his base form, like his range form, I don't think you can utilize this, because this is a melee thing, melee. So I don't think you want to use this on Hanya, because it's going to be useless half of the time. It only come in use when you ult. So yeah, I don't think you want to build it on Hanya. Same with Ibaraki Doji, you don't want to build it on him, because he doesn't need to do percentage damage. He's just dominance as is, and more tank is better for him. Oh, speaking of, more attack got added to this, but the HP got nerfed. HP got nerfed by a lot. So yeah, you don't want to build on Ibaraki, because Ibaraki appreciates more tank. Ichigo, you can build it on technically, but I don't think you want to, because Ichigo's AA is usually like has a very low cooldown for his S2, which in his Bankai form, his S2 does have that chop effect to begin with. But on the same hand, there is the argument that his percentage damage, the percentage damage that this item provides, is a little more valuable than just the chop part of it. So I feel like an Ichigo you can experiment with this, and it might be good. Like there is a possibility. Oops, wrong tab. Yeah. So there is a possibility to build this on Ichigo. Inuyasha I feel like has great usage for this item, because he wants to burst things down fast. So yeah, I think this might be good for him. Kojira, not really, because Kojira again is more of an ability damage and he just uses AA to complete his combo, which is passive. You don't need the chop effect, and you also don't need the max HP thing because if you're going for damage Kojira, then you already have the burst, and if you're going with the tanky Kojira, then you definitely don't need this because your main job is to tank. Kuromujo doesn't AA much at all. Like Kuromujo is just using his S1, running around, and like only the only time you AA with Kuromujo is when you use your passive. Apart from that, Kuromujo doesn't really AA much. So I don't think there is much use for Kuromujo either. Same with Puppeteer. Puppeteer relies on her skills entirely, so you don't really have much use for her either. Ryomen, yeah, Roman again is more ability damage. You only use the AA for your passive, but here it might be interesting because every time you activate your passive, at the same time you're also going to be doing an bonus like 6% percentage damage, percentage HP damage. So that is a bit interesting, something to consider, I guess. But personally, the Roman build I go for is like completely tank build. So I don't think personally I would build it on Geoman, but it's something to consider if you guys are going for a more damage based Roman, I guess. Satori again no, because Satori doesn't A, she uses her baseballs. Shichio is ranged, so he can't use this. Shuten Doji, again, like Shuten Doji has so many builds, it's up to you guys. Shuten Doji can utilize this item fairly well. If you guys are going for a pretty burst sort of a shoot and doji damage or shoot and doji build. But yeah, Takiyasha I don't think should build this because Takiyasha is ranged to begin with, and I think it's range, right? Is or does she come under melee? I'm not really sure because Takiyasha does have a lot of range, but like you have to like physically hit with her spear. So is it melee or is it range? I'm not really sure. It's an interesting item for Takiyasha. Maybe you can build it, but Takiyasha jungle usually goes for the damage sort of build, and jungle already has a lot of burst. So you do, and you as a jungle you want to target more of the squishy units rather than the tank. So you don't really need the percentage damage. You just need the burst. So I don't think this is a great item for her. Yukidoji, again, I don't think you want to build it on Yukidoji. Just go for a more tankish sort of build with Yukidoji so you can just stay in the fight and keep harassing the enemy. Yukidoji's damage comes from his passive. Inugami can definitely build this. This is a great item for Inugami because Inugami will have much more burst this way and he doesn't need the chop anyway, right? I think if you're going for Inugami top, then yeah. Jorogumo is a bit interesting. I'm not really sure just because of less I've seen her. You can build it on her, I think, but maybe you just want to focus on attack speed. I'm not really sure. Rukia, you don't want to build this on. Yoto, I think you might want to build this on Yoto if you're going for Yoto top. I think this is a pretty interesting item for Yoto. Like if you're going for suppose if you're playing Yoto against something like Kanihime for example, then you definitely do want to build this because that percentage HP damage will come in clutch. Yeah, I think so. As far as ninjas are considered, any ninja you might want to build this on. Um, Not really. So come to think of it, there isn't too much usage of this, but it is an interesting change that might see some more usage, let's say, because earlier it was seeing zero usage. So it might not be amazing. Let's change that. But it's pretty good. It might see more usage now. So now this is great. So what changes on the base chart was was that the armor became 90 armor here instead of 150, and they added 300 mana to this, and they made it 350 HP. So the 300 mana is a great thing because previously you couldn't build Tsukiyomi though unless you were an SP. Like you couldn't build this as a top unit because this didn't provide enough mana for you anyway, and it has 2 less tank. So there was no point to build this because you'd have to recall anyway because the mana wasn't enough for you to sustain on just this item. So you'd have to build that small Ningyo item thing. I forgot what it's called. Like this thing. Yeah, Ningyo orb. I guess you still have to build this, but at least it fuses into this. Like earlier you had to build this and you had to sell it late game. But now you can just fuse it into this, which is pretty good in my opinion. That extra mana and you get extra this it gained this extra passive, which was you gain 8 MP for the death of each nearby unit up to a maximum of 800. So you get a fuck ton of mana this way. Like that's 800 plus 300, that's 1100 mana. That's a lot. So if you're going last, like something like, what do we call it? If you're building this on Hoga, for example. So Hoga can starts with Shichimen, and then she can build this item later on. So she'll have a lot of mana. And the passive earlier is that when it takes like 30% of HP damage or something like that, it generates a shield, which is like 200 plus, like what is that, 18 or 20% of mana. 18 or 20% of mana shield. So yeah, the shield that scales based on mana, which pretty nice because you're going to have 11 if it max at max you're going to have like 1100 plus approx like maybe 600 700 extra mana from Shichimen as well. So you're going to have a lot of mana and you're going to have a decent shield. So Hoga won't burst as fast. You can also build the shit on Umibozu. Let's go to tanks because you majorly want to build this on tanks. You can build this on Umibozu too because Umibozu builds Shichimen as well. So you can build this on him as well. And you might be able to build this on Tanuki. I'm not too sure, but you can, I think. MOBA, yes, MOBA you can build it on. If you're going, yeah, you should build this on MOBA if you're going for a top MOBA. If you're going for a Mage MOBA, then no need. But if you're going for a top one, you should have some tanky items. You don't want to go for full fucking Mandala and some Izanami. You don't want to go full Mage build on top MOBA because then your team has no tank and MOBA will burst too fast to provide much of utility. And your team will be too vulnerable. So if you're going for top MOBA, then you want to have some tank. So this is a good item for MOBA top. Kyonshi Ani you can build this on because Kyonshi Ani again needs mana. I'm not really sure if you build Shichimen or not, but you can do that. You can build Shichimen and then later on you can build this item as well. So that's a good idea. Like I said, Hoga you should build this on. You can build this on Kanihime because Kanihime, I'm not really sure now though. I think after the Onmyoji buff, Kanihime might not need that item for the mana. But if she does, if you feel like you don't have enough mana, then you should build this item on her as well. Let's see more. Yumekoi, it's a bit sus. Yumekoi you can build it on for sure, but I'm not really sure if you wanna do that because the recent Yumekoi build is just like 3 Yatano mirrors and something like that, and that's like really good. So you might not want to build this item on him, even though it's theoretically good for him, because there just exists a better build for Yumekoi. Karasu Tengu you don't want to build this on, because you don't really need that much mana on Karasu. Let's see, or do any of these guys need that? Let's see. Not really, I think. I don't think these guys really need that. These guys have relatively decent. Rukia you can build this on because Rukia top will build Shichimen regardless. Even if she needs mana or she doesn't need mana, she'll build it anyway. So Shichimen, if you're going to build Shichimen, then you might as well build this item because come in handy for a top unit. N must be top. Please don't play that shit. It sucks. Um, then let's see. Yeah, some mages are pretty tanky. Like Higanbana, if you're going for a Shichimen build, like there was the Chinese build which was Shichimen, Magic Resist Boots, Samarash, Yata Mirror, etc. etc. So if you're going for that sort of a build, then you might want to build this item too for the shield that it provides. Like and just fucking balls to the wall, extremely tanky. Or you might want to replace this with Yata Mirror, and so that you have a decent bit of tank. You have less tank than before, but you have like an extra shield, I guess, and more mana. That is an option. Not really recommended though, but it is an option. Apart from that, Kiyohime, I think you should build this on Kiyohime. Kiyohime top, but Kiyohime top is not that good anymore because you kind of want CC on your top units nowadays, or you want a lot of burst. Kiyohime doesn't really have much tank, and as a top unit, she isn't that effective in my opinion. As a mid, you can do it, and even as a mid, you can build this item on her, get her a little bit of tank. Like for me, example, I'll build this item on Shiromujo because the Shiromujo I play is that I play a bind Shiromujo against things like Onikiri and stuff, GG that are really aggressive and they want to camp mid. So I build Shichimen with magic penetration boots. Then I build Marsh Moon, Samarash. Then I build Tsukiyomi Do, and I build Magic Lantern. Uh, and then there's the Gates of Amanto, and then I build what do we call it? What was the item called? A Yata Mirror. So yeah, for my Shiromujo build, this will be a great addition because now my Shiromujo is even more tanky. So there's just no way he's going to die. He has pretty less damage, let's say, but the tank is worth it in my opinion. For me, that's the build I use. Yeah, but I think that sums it up for that item. Yeah, it's a nice change. So these are the new items that got added. So the item on the left is the Moonlight Meditation, which is a tank item, let's say. So what it has a lot of HP. Like that's great. Like it has 7 HP, 750 HP, which is more than the Phoenix Robe which used to give 650 HP. So that's a lot of HP, I think, and magic rest on top of that, and also HP regen. And the passive is that it gains 25% tenacity, and tenacity is magic control resistance. So suppose you get caught by Bake Kojira. Now Bake Kojira catches for like 2 seconds, I think, I'm not really sure, I don't remember. So that will get reduced by 25 seconds. Yeah, so if it did hold for 2 seconds, it will hold for like 1.75 seconds now. Something like that. Um, and the cooldown is 40 seconds. Also refreshes strong control effects on enemy Shikigami. I'm not really sure what this means, but I assume this means that when you inflict a strong control effect on the Shikigami, this passive is reset. Maybe. I'm not really sure. But I think this is a great item overall. I feel like you can build this on something like Kurodoji and the magic, and he'll have a lot of tank. His passive will hit for more because it's HP scaling. And what was it? And he'll have more magic, sorry, he'll have more control resistance, which is great because then it'll be even harder to stop Kurodoji from like messing up your back lane. So if you like Kurodoji, Tanuki, what else? Let's see. Things that get really messed up by control. You can build this on what do we call it, Vampira. If you're sort of a tankier Vampira, you can build this on her because Vampira, if you want to play, then if you have played Vampira, then you know she gets messed up by CC a lot. So you can build this item a little bit later on, so you don't get as messed up by CC because things like Kaguya, for example, just completely shut down Vampira because as soon as Vampira comes, she just places her stun, and then Vampira gets bows down by ADC and Mage. It is what it is. So this is a good item, decent item for her. Zashki again will be very annoying with this item because you won't be able to stop Zashki, and Zashki is never dying. So yeah, this will be great for Zashki as well. Karaso Tengu is decent. You can definitely use it on him. No problem, let's say. Whether it's the most ideal or not, I'm not really sure, but you can definitely build it on him. It's a pretty good item. Yeah, and overall, I think this is a pretty nice item because CC is pretty strong in this game. Like, if you get like a team against with a lot of CC, you're most likely going to lose. For example, if there's a draft like Kanihime, Onikiri, let's say what else for mid. Mid, let's say Higanbana, SP, let's say Kaguya, and MM is whatever. So like if you have a draft like this, the CC is very dominant and you get messed up by it. So I feel like this item is a pretty good addition because at least the tank can sort of be more resistant to it. And he can keep on pressing the opponent team regardless of the CC. Like at least do it a bit better. Like earlier, a tank would either have to carry cleanse, which is not ideal because a tank would want to carry corrode to finish off enemies, or a tank would have to build hammer, which is absolute worst. And I don't think any tank ends up doing it. But yeah, it was a problem. So I feel like this is a great item for tanks, and this I feel like is an amazing item for SPs. Like the main stats is fine, whatever, but the thing here, leave a mark. After hitting the enemy, the damage received by the target will be increased by 8%, lasting for 3 seconds. Now this is amazing. So something like something which has a lot of chip. For example, if you're playing Hoga SP and you manage to catch like 3-4 man in your ult, so your ult when you hit the enemy, they will take 8% more damage, and your marks will have percentage damage on top of that, so it's going to deal more percentage damage, and the enemy is also going to take more damage from your MM. So I feel like this is great for boosting Shiki down, and especially tanks. Like I said, like this update, they've brought a lot of stuff to counter the tank that are so dominant currently. So yeah, this is going to be able to burst down the tanks even faster. For example, something like Chin, which already burst down tanks pretty fast because she dealt percentage damage. Now she's going to do 8% more damage on top of that. So I think that would be amazing and make tanks a little bit less dominant. And the items that they've added for Samurai, I feel like give them a fighting chance back, like to make them actually the more dominant um, role instead of tanks. Yeah. So overall, I think this was a job well done by NetEase. I think these are two both pretty good items. I don't. Neither of them are disappointing. I think they both have a lot of usage. And the other new items that came out were this Miramas of Light, which has a lot of attack damage. 80 attack damage is a fair bit, and 250 HP. So its passive is when you participate in sealing the enemy's Shikigami, you will gain 50 plus 10% level, point shield, and 50% acceleration effect that continues to decay for 1.5 seconds. And you also get armor pierce. And this is the armor pierce is sort of the flat armor pierce which Shadow Blade previously had and no longer does. So if you're building Shadow Blade previously, you can build this item instead and you get bonus on top. Like Shadow Blade, you still have to build, I guess, because you need the cooldown. Oh, sorry, not cooldown, I mean heal down. But yeah, you get the flat armor pierce from Shadow Blade to here now. So the flat armor pierce is pretty good for what do you call it, squishy Shikigami, which don't have a lot of armor, but they have a decent, little bit of it. So yeah, I feel like this is also an interesting item. Like you can run this on Kuromujo, for example, because Kuromujo after he executes one, he's going to get a bigger shield Like suppose level 16 Kuromujo is going to get a 200 damage shield and a 15% acceleration effect. So he can, if you're running away from Kuromujo after he kills one, you're not going to be able to run away because he's going to have this 50% plus he's going to have the percentage he already gets from his using his alt. So yeah, that's going to be horrible. Same with Aobozu Demon Bane. Like Demon Bane, again, like I said, Demon Bane got a lot of buffs. If you're going for the carry build with Demon Bane with the Demon Mask, and this might be the new meta, perhaps. Like the full damage build sort of Demon Bane and just try to end fast. I feel like that might be something that comes into the picture. And apart from that, you can always use this on. Let's see who else. Yeah, don't want to use this on tanks at all. As far as ninjas, you can use this on. Like ninjas would be great with this. You can use this on Honeona, you can use this on Mitsumade. Uh, Kainen, Kainen, I don't think you want to build this one. Kainen doesn't really benefit too much. Kosoro Denote, oh fuck it. She will benefit from this item. I think you might want to build this on her. Kyonshi is ability damage. Human Echo, perhaps Human Echo might be nice. Manendake is great. I think you can build this on Manendake for sure. Yamakaze, so it's a bit sus. Like I'm not really sure because I don't play Yamakaze. I'm not really sure. Like I think you might be able to build this on him. I'm not really sure if you need this though, to be honest. I don't think you need this on Yamakaze. Yasha can absolutely use this. Yasha can absolutely use this. This will be great for Yasha, I think. Onikiri, not particularly. Yeah, Onikiri doesn't really need it too much. But of course, it's decent. You'd get armor pierce, and you'd also get a fair bit of shield. The shield is not really necessary, but the pierce is fine. So if you don't really have another item you want to build, then you can build this item, I guess. But it's not too good. Let's see what else is there. Hidomaru. No. You want attack speed. With all MM, I don't think you want to build this. Maybe Futaguchi. She can use this, maybe. Yeah, maybe you can build this on her. But apart from that, no other MM will have much use of this. Yotohime, you can absolutely build this on. Jorogumo, no. Jorogumo needs attack speed, I think. I don't think you want to build this on her. Inugami can absolutely use this. Yukidoji, please don't. Tanjiro, we don't have it. Takiyasha Hime does have use for this. If you're going, like I said, for the jungle, a damage build, you can absolutely have use for this. You can build this. Instead of one of the ability sites, you can build this item. I think this might have more utility. You won't have as much damage, but the utility might be useful. Not utility, I mean like the shield and the armor pierce might be useful. Shitendoji, I don't think you want to build this on them. Shishio, perhaps. Satori can absolutely use this, depending on what sort of a build you're going for. But I think she can build this on most situations. Ryomen definitely not. Puppeteer can make use of this for sure. I think this might be a Puppeteer jungle staple, perhaps. Kuromojo, like I said, this is amazing for him. Kojira, it's not ideal, but you can build it. Ichigo, I think this is really interesting for Ichigo because Ichigo, when he ults, he drops to 0 HP anyway. But if he seals, the shield that he gets might enable him to survive. So I think that's pretty interesting. Like, Ichigo might benefit from this item. Inuyasha again, Inuyasha might come back into the picture because this item also works for him. Ibaraki, don't. Hanya, you can build this on, absolutely, but squishy Hanya is a bit of a risk, so keep that in mind. Like if you go too squishy, you might just get deleted if you don't catch the backline with your ult. Asura can build this. Not really sure if you want to build this though, but you can. And yeah, I think that's about it. And as far as this crossbow is concerned, like wide triple hook arrow, this got the stats from the previous Hawkbow. Like Hawkbow used to have the stats, but now it has different stats. Hawkbow now has like 50 attack damage, sorry, 60 attack damage and 50% attack speed, I think. And it does the same thing, and it also has 10% bonus per attack damage, per basic attack. The new Hawkbow. But this got the Hawkbow's previous stats with the 7% movement speed, 45% attack speed, and 25% crit rate. So after launching 3 general attacks against any Chiki, you will increase your movement speed by 25% and gain 1.5 current level. So if you're at suppose level 10, you're going to get 35%, sorry, 35 attack damage extra. And this is a 15% cooldown, 15-second cooldown. Uh, I'm not really sure what exactly you want to build this on, which needs crit attack speed, but at the same time also needs attack power. Like, perhaps you can build this on Suzuka. Like, that is an opportunity that maybe you can build this on Suzuka. You don't want to build this on Chin because Chin just need attack speed and maybe crit because crit just comes with extra with most attack speeds. But Chin has percentage HP damage with her passive, so you just want to stack as much attack speed as possible. You don't really need the attack power or the movement speed because Chin has the movement speed from the Onmyoji. So I don't think you want to build this on Chin per se, but you can if you want to. It's not a bad item, but you can. What else? You can build this on Enma. You can build this on Enma for sure. Let's take a look. You can build this on Kidomaru, come to think of it, because Kidomaru does go crit damage. Yeah, you can build this on Kidomaru. You can build this on Enma. Kanko, I don't think so. Jiki, don't play this. Jika, sorry. Hakuro, sorry. Hakuro can benefit from this, but again, like Chin, you don't really need attack damage with Hakuro. You just need to stack more of attack speed. But you can build this on Hakuro. Futakuchi, I don't think you want to build this on her. Futakuchi needs more just base attack damage and only a little bit of attack speed. So I don't think you want to build this on Futakuchi. Dodomeki can make use of this, but I don't think you want to build this on her. Same with Shin. Like she can make use of it, but it's not ideal, I think. But it's also not bad, I think. I think this is a pretty decent item. Like I feel like this will come in use. You can technically build this on a lot of Shikigami, so it's not bad, but it's not amazing either. Let's say that. But overall, I think I've covered most of the item changes. There are a few I've skipped. Like there are a couple of items that are skipped, but they are not too. What do we call it? Major. Yeah, they are not major changes. Like they're only normal changes. I think if you look through the items, you'll see them, and not too much has changed on some of the items that I've not covered. But yeah, I think overall this update was a pretty good job by NetEase. I think NetEase did good with this update. I think this was long due coming also. Like I think they probably needed to do this earlier. Like the meta had become quite stale for a long time. Like the items that you build on most characters. Like CN used to implement some new stuff like the CN server, but apart from that, you really didn't see much change here on like C server. So I think this is a pretty good update from NetEase. I think they have also changed the meta a little bit. Like tanks, I think might not be as dominant anymore because of all the items that have been introduced, all the magic penetration, all the samurai related items. So yeah, I think the game might become more fun thanks to this update. I think this is a good job by NetEase. So I'm proud of NetEase for once. But yeah, as far as Senhime is concerned, I think Senhime has a great kit. Senhime is sort of like a harass her in a sense, but she can also be very aggressive. Like because the items that you wanna build on Senhime, in my opinion, are Shichiman first. I don't think you wanna go Mandala with her because she needs a little bit of tank. Then you wanna go Magic Penetration Boots. You wanna go with the Ameno something that's called Ameno Hawaii. I think I don't know. I think that is something that is a must build on Senhime because Senhime's passive is that she does an her next basic attack after she hits an enemy Shikigami or a minion with a skill is that it's enhanced and it recovers HP. So with Amino Habara, you're going to do bonus damage to the enemy, and I think that's pretty good for Senhime. I think that's a must item, must build item. Apart from that, I think that comes more up to what the person wants to build. I've seen a few different what do we call it items from this point on. Like I was spectating a Hingus game. So what Hingus had built was he had built Izanami Scepter, which is the item that boosted your ability damage, and he had also built the scrolls, like the scroll Izumi scrolls or something like that, which was basically a lot of ability power. So I think that's a unique approach, which is just all in on just pure ability damage, which is something you can build on Senhime. But apart from that, I feel like you can also go for a rather bruiserish sort of build with Senhime, which is like you can go for Shichimen, you can go for Amino, whatever, and then you can switch it up a little bit and you can go with the new magic fan that has been introduced. I forgot to cover this actually. I feel like, did I include this? Crap. I think I forgot that item. Yeah, so the new fan that was introduced for the AP fan, right? If you guys sort of remember, like the blue AP fan, what it previously used to do was it used to corrode the target's magic resist. Like it used to corrode the target's magic resist by 1.5% with each hit, like 1.5 times, I think, something like that. So what the new fan does is that it has bonus armor, it has armor penetration now, and it also has what do you call it? It boosts your magic speed. Movement speed. I feel like that is a good item for Sen. That is something you can build on Senhime now because the armor pierce is of course magic penetration is always good, and the movement speed can also be appreciated. Like you can chase better with her, and I feel like that is an item that you can build it on her, and you can also build the Sylph something harp. Where is it? Oops. Yeah, you can build this item on her as well, because then you can play more aggro with her as opposed to more like a one-shot type of thing. You can build this item on her, and then you can sort of be more aggressive in the sense that because her combo is pretty fast, your three hits are going to land almost instantly when you enter the fight, and you're going to get the shield. So you won't be as squishy when you try to aggro against the opponent. So this is also an item that you can build on Senhime. And what else? Let's see. Is there a online where I can find the items? Yeah. Oh, yeah, forget it. Regardless, I think it'll take a bit more time for people to discover what Senhime is absolutely best with. Like I feel like CN will most likely determine that meta. I think you guys should try to experiment on your own and see what works best for you as well. Because the most common build might not be the best one as well, like which works for your playstyle. So yeah, I feel like Senim is pretty flexible in that sense. Like you can build a full damage, you can build a sort of bruiserish, you can build Summer Ash on her if you want to. She has a lot of skills. So if you want to build, you can build Summer Ash on her. There are a lot of options that you have available with her. Like there aren't too many wrong answers. You can build Trigram on her for the magic penetration. But if you build Trigram on her, you'll have to build it on the build that Hingus built. For example, a more squishy but a lot of damage build. because the way trigram works is that the more HP the opponent has, the less damage the more damage she does. So yeah, I feel like that is something you can do with Senhime. But overall, Senhime was not a disappointment, let's say. Senhime's kit is pretty fun and her damage is decent. Like for me, Kinara was a bit of a disappointment because it was something different than what I was expecting. I was expecting Kinara to be more of a sort of ability damage and sort of interesting build like Nekomata, where you would switch up your different what do we call it, different colors, and you would do something special. But she turned out to be just click alt and you're done sort of character, which was not really fun in my opinion. So yeah, like this, I think Senhime can be very fun and interactive, and I think people will have fun discovering what she can do. I feel like I think it will take like a while for people to like see how she works very well. But I feel like Senhime might be used in the OPL as well because Senhime's ult is like a two-stage ult. Like you will place it down and then you can teleport to the middle of the ult and then you place like a an area of attack like a sweep knock up, which is pretty good. Like if you suppose for example if you just place the ult at bot lane or some tower and the tank dies, you can just place that ult after it and it'll be a pretty good combo and pretty swift combo as well. So I feel like that's a pretty good option for playing Senhime, and I feel like she'll be pretty effective in with your team, for example. Like if you're going with a squad of a three-man or suppose five-man, if you're in VC, you can sort of build a team around her like a support. You can go for a tank sort of like maybe you can go for Takiyasha for two example. I think Takiyasha will work fine with Senhime. Like Takiyasha can dive with purple ult and then you can throw your own ult on like throw your own ult of the enemy and then you can use your stage 2 and just knock them up, and I think that will be a good combo that way. You can also use her with Kurodoji. I think Kurodoji would also be a good matchup with her. But I think if you do things like that, you can also be more risky and you can go for a more sort of damage sort of build with Senhime because you have a reliable tank and you're going to combo, so you're going to stay back, right? And Kurodoji can hold the enemy for you, so you can spam your skills. So I feel like that would be a good combo, and if you do a lot of damage in that sense, I think that would be great. It might also be a win con, like you don't have to rely on your ADC as much then. But of course, if you get like a trash ADC like 0-7 or something, then of course, I mean, it is what it is, you'll lose. But yeah, I feel like you can combo pretty well with Senhime. I think she's like a playmaker in sort of sense. I think she's fun. Yeah, but regardless, I think, like I said, NetEase did a good job with this update. Most of the things that came out of this update were pretty good as opposed to the previous one. And I feel like this season might change the meta in a few ways. Perhaps. Maybe it's just wishful thinking because I'm bored of the stale meta. But yeah, hopefully it's something changes. Anyway, I think I've covered most of the things and I'll wrap it up for now. So I want to talk about a little bit of the changes that I've made with my own content, let's say. I've started streaming on Twitch, and the games that I've been streaming primarily are sort of chess, Fall Guys, Elden Ring, things like that. So yeah, if you guys could follow me on Twitch, that would be great as well. I'll try to stream daily, but I'll miss a few days here or there. And as far as Onmyoji Arena content is concerned, I'll continue to upload on this channel. But what will happen is that because my phone can't take the game anymore, what I'll have to do is I'll have to post record the games. Like rather than recording them live, I'll have to go back to my games and like sort of record them in that sense. And I can't really upload them like live while I'm playing sort of thing because my phone can't take it and like my frames drop too much. So yeah, I think I'll sort of keep uploading that sort of content here, and I'm sort of thinking of making things like guides, like for different sort of lanes, like top lane, middle lane, bot lane, the characters that are you can use, the relevant Shiki that you wanna that are going on in the meta, the items that you wanna build with Shiki, laning strategies like freezing the lane, when do you want to shove the lane, things like that. I'm sort of thinking of making guides like that in the future. So let me know down in the comments what do you guys think. What do you guys think of content like that? Is it something you guys want or not? And I'll see you on the next video, I guess. Peace.